Another big step in define phase is to really focus on the actual team. You have already done basic work for team selection with the project charter, but in this phase you verify that you have taken into account all the features, all the benefits for the team, and so on. So you have to think about the goals, roles, procedures, and interpersonal relationships. You must have all people that are implicated by the project and the needs represented in the team. Like said, the project charter is the base for information, and it will help you to think about the team and different roles, including also other stakeholders like external specialists, possible customers, both internal and external, and so on. So when you create a team, start from clockwise from 12 o'clock. Think about what skills you really need from your team. Do you need process experts, technical experts? What kind of interpersonal skills you want? Think also about the influence. You should have some decision makers of the right level or levels. Managers, directors, supervisors also that should be involved, at least the process owners. And if there is any so-called shadow influencers, the people who are like invisible leaders among the other workers. So when you think about building up a team, don't make it too simple, too much like yourself. Try to find different kind of personalities, extroverts and introverts, achievers, pushers and doers, friends and those who are not so, who don't care about friendships, analytical people, creative people, active people, and so on. Think what you need to be doing, what needs to be done. And the right people typically come from cross-functional teams, cross-functional processes and areas. If there is several countries, you have to think about which countries are concerned. Should there be headquarters or regional offices? Do you need someone to help out or be involved with from support functions or support operations? Like already mentioned several times, the goals that you set should be SMART. If you still don't understand what is meant with SMART, go back and study again the SMART goals. In the basic team roles, you can use the Belbin team role study, but you have to think about the different roles. Who is the actual leader? As a project director, it should be either you or a project manager working as a part of your management team. Who is the expert in different areas? In which areas? Who is responsible? Who is the doer who does the action? And who is the sponsor of your project? You also should have some ground rules, procedures. In many major consulting companies, there's a really precise set of rules. But at least these things should be covered. How are we going to work together? When, where, how often do we need to meet together? Is it going to be virtual meetings or physical meetings? How should we share documents? What kind of place we are going to use? To whom should we communicate on a regular basis? And how should we behave together? Also thinking about, if you are external consultant, the client people. Then you have to also think about managing the team, because managing people really requires specific attention. You have to be able to create a good atmosphere in rapport. You have to be prepared to manage the different team development stages. You have to understand diversity and build on differences. You have to let everybody to shine in their own specialty field. You shouldn't be an authoritative leader, you should be a more sharing leader, involving all the team members. And you have to get mutual trust, commitment, safe shelter, walk the talk, i.e. do as you say. Given that you also follow up your own expectations regarding your own work. Address all the interpersonal issues, and if needed, use external resources for that. And make sure you communicate. Communicate even more than you first think necessary. Because all this builds the motivation. A RACI chart is a very good tool to use in this phase. It assigns roles to individuals and related departments. It helps to identify the problems in the current way of operations. There might be different problems, like there is ambiguity as to which individual are accountable for the task. There seems to be overlapping tasks. Communication or coordination is not smooth within the team or outside from the team. Execution and decision making is not conducted at the appropriate level, and so on. And this is the things between the R, A, C, and I. The first level is responsible person. That means the person who actually puts things to action. The one who each task is assigned to. Accountable is the person who is ultimately accountable. In many cases, that is the project director, project manager, and team leaders. He or she is the person who makes you stop or go on judgment. And regarding the accountability, there can only be one person who is accountable. It can be divided by functions, but always only one, because shared accountability means no accountability. Then you will have persons who will be consulted, typically before final decision is made or action is taken. With this kind of people, you need two-way communication. Because the results of opinion exchange may influence on the decisions and the next steps you're going to take. The lowest level of involvement is with informed people, who are people or persons who are informed after the decisions are made or actions are taken. For example, the staff on the floor, if they're not involved in a project, they should always be informed. This is a typical communications plan. And when you are now working with your projects, you should prepare latest now something like this. What you are going to communicate, when, who will do it, how it will be done. Is it going to be one-way communication through boards or TV screens or information systems? What's the time scale and how you collect the feedback? What are the mechanisms for communication? Are they going to be presentations, virtual meetings, newsletters, web chats, one-to-one chats, or so on? And remember, people like to communicate in different styles, different ways. If you think about learning styles, there's also visual, auditory, and feeling styles. The same thing goes with communication. So again, now you have an exercise. Using the rules and examples shown on this video, develop a list of who your team members will really be, make a RACI chart and a communications plan.